President Klerk, Honorable Minister Sibiya, Excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, all protocol observed. I'm not good in protocol. Let me thank the KidsRights for organizing this conference and thank them for inviting me to join you in the discussions and deliberations of this conference. But I want to take this opportunity to thank all activists all over the world, civil society organizations in different forms, who have been so consistent in keeping the agenda of Millennium Development Goals and of children and women in particular very high in the agenda, reminding our leaders at national, regional, and global levels of their obligations, reminding them of their promises, and reminding them also of the failure of keeping their obligations and their promises. I've been asked to talk of health, but I will ask you to forgive me because I'm going to go beyond that. We all know statistics, and statistics will be presented to you since this morning up to the end. So I'm not going to talk of statistics. I want to suggest that we as activists, maybe we change the methods of how we address our leaders in terms of bringing them to realize that their legitimacy is at stake when they keep again and again repeating promises which probably deep in their hearts they know they are not going to meet. I have been in this world of activism for years, and I was saying I feel sometimes torn whether I should go to conferences where I'm going to repeat myself, because I also become part of those who say exactly the same thing for the whole decade. But I feel, yes, we can't give up, we have to carry on, but maybe we have to change the methods. That's what I want to propose today. Instead of us talking of millions of children who die of malnutrition, millions of children who die of waterborne diseases stuff, millions of kids who die of malaria, etc., etc., you know, that we have been saying again and again, and I don't think people are listening. I'm not taking it seriously. My suggestion is, let us break down all these numbers and put them at the national level. I know it is very hard work, but we can do it. Put it at the national level. And I'll use my own country. Tell Mozambique, tell South Africa, tell Zambia, tell any of our countries to say, you know what? This is the number of kids who are dying of all these things, but clearly you go one by one of MDGs, one by one. Poverty, it implies naturally in malnutrition and what is related to death in malnutrition. It's a Millennium Development Goal 1. Number 2, number 3, number 4, all Millennium Goals, you put it, what it is, what is the implication in deaths of women and children, and what it costs, what cost is required for you to meet this, and then you shame them. Can we change these priorities which they have in defense and security, etc., and put it to production of food, schools for children, clean water for communities, and so forth, so forth. But we put it in numbers, and then we put it at the door of each one of them. What it costs, and what they are spending in these other areas, so that the language and the engagement we have to have with them, it has to touch very directly to the budgets annually, because we can then compare how they are increasing the budgets and how the budget are being spent also, to be spent properly, to meet exactly those who deserve to be served. And that we will talk, of course, and how we overcome issues of corruption, etc., etc. And how the budgets are being prioritized, how the budgets are being spent, and what is the impact on people. I think if we continue to talk of these very big numbers, the message doesn't get across. At a global level, I think also we should change this method of reminding them only of the obligations and say, from 2000, how much, because it's possible to get, how much those big, wealthy countries, they have been spending again in defense. Second, what are the promises they have made since 2000? You know, you remember Gleneagles? And then they repeat, every year they repeat promises, and how the promises have been consistently broken. And now we have 5 years, but just in 2008, we saw leaders of the world spending billions and billions to bail out banks, to bail out big companies, etc., etc. So definitely money is not the issue. Money is not the issue. And because money, also I have to remind all of us, that money belongs to us. I mean, belongs to, it's public money. So it's taxpayers' money. That's what I'm trying to say. When I say us, I'm talking as people. But it's taxpayers' money. And this taxpayers' money, in terms of priorities, they go to other things, and people continue to die. And then we meet, we see, we watch our leaders repeating promises they know they are not going to meet. And I think this is becoming simply frustrating. Not only frustrating, I think it's becoming cynical. Because we are talking to them, and deep in our hearts, we don't think they are going to do it. So I think we have to break this. We have to break this language of communication in which some say they won't do it, we demand, but we don't, they are not going to meet, but we continue to say this thing. I think we have to change. We change the method. And for me, it's also to bring this to a level where you have to find a way of bringing a leader who deals with this kind of decisions to him as a human being. And I have said this before. All of them, they have children, but probably their children are grown up now. But they have grandchildren. Or maybe like me, they have great-grandchildren. So they have children who are very close to their heart. They are children they love. They are children, they are prepared to do anything to give them the best possible start in life and the best possible of opportunities and for them to realize their potential. So they know the value of a child. What happens is that they distance themselves from their own children and other people's children. So other people's children, out of decisions which they fail to make, they can die every year. But they will be busy protecting their own children, or children they are close to them, children who mean a lot to them. That's what I'm saying. We have to say, you know what? Those millions we are talking about, they don't only have a face. They don't only have a name. They don't only mean alive, but they are as dear, as valued by their parents as you love and you dear your own children.